comfortable Willie's ready to go?
Yes, yeah. No, Willie's okay. That's really important. He's fine and he's okay. He's here today, as you would have seen. It took some little bit of time to deal with what he was dealing with. So, but he'll be okay and he'll be available to play on Sunday.
How hard is it seeing a player have to endure that? I know he was the one who did the post, but how hard is it? Especially one of the most important players.
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace, the racism that still goes on in our world. With the way we talk about lots of things in society, and yet that is still tolerated and still allowed to go on, there almost should be a law that makes people accountable. I think it's an absolute disgrace.
So he's deleted his social media account. Is it something that,
Isn't that sad that for his own well-being he needs to do that?
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Well, I think that's really sad that's the way he has to operate. But Willie's a brave young person.
Where's he placed with Hawthorn at the moment?
Sorry?
Where's he placed with Hawthorn at the moment?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, he's reached out to Sam Mitchell apparently, so does he feel he needs to clear some decks with them as well?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Perhaps that's a question for Willie himself, but I think, if he's got a great relationship with Sam, which I'm sure he has, I'm more than okay that's a conversation that they need to have with each other, and I'm not entitled to know the ins and outs of what that conversation was, but for Junior, really importantly, he's in a better space today.
So a lot of players, and you had a good chat with him as well. Is he feeling the love?
Yeah, no, he knows his team support him massively, and he was very grateful for all the care he got, which he deserves.
You can the AFL do more, Ken? Not Willie's case, but can the AFL do more in this space, or how is this a society thing to do?
Yeah, I don't have the answer, which is unfortunate, isn't it? I mean, none of us have the answer for what can be done better or more. It seems like it's most common sense people and really good people understand that that's a no-go zone and it should be a no-go zone, but some fools of this world don't change.
You've known Willie and his family a while. How did you and the club wrap your arms around him after it actually did happen?
As I just said, we support him really well and we support him closely, and he knew that we were there to care for him. And whatever he needed, we were there to help him. And, again, probably for the last thing we need to talk about, it's just a disgrace that it continues to go on.
Can I just ask him, did you know, was the club aware of the depth of the feeling, obviously, that caused him to do the taunt and then the post? And then how do you support him when you guys play him later in the year in Launceston?
Oh, well, it'll be... The support was easy, the part for how we support him. He'll know that he's got his teammates and they'll be there with, and not just for the game in the future, it's for every game he plays. Like, this doesn't just happen against Hawthorn. I think that's the thing we've got to understand. This happens to Willie Rioli more than any other person that I've been involved with, that he cops that type of abuse. And the feelings about the Hawthorn stuff, I think that's not for me to talk about. That's his history and his family's history and everything else that's gone on. So we, as I said after him, we respect the Hawthorn Football Club. There's nothing in my mind that's got anything to do with Hawthorn other than Willie's got his own little challenges there.
He's gone through a lot, hasn't he? Not just since you've coached him here, but through his journey.
Has gone through a lot. He's a remarkable person. Like, not many people would be able to cope, I don't think. And I just love him. I just love the way he is and the way the person is, and the smile that he brings to our footy club most days. And it's not a nice day when you know that he's not smiling.
Is it a different feel at selection this week? You feel like you're having to squeeze people in rather than having to patch up holes?
No, it shouldn't be. I don't think. I mean, Darcy will be available clearly, and Darcy deserves his spot in the team. So, we'll find a way for Darcy to come into the team. But it's early. It's Wednesday. We don't play till Sunday, so we'll work our way through that as we go. But I can be pretty confident to say that Darcy will be in our team.
Bergner?
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. Yeah, we've said all along the scan was okay. It was a bursa issue that causes a lot of fluid, but not too much long-term issue. So optimistic that he'll be there Sunday. Doesn't mean he definitely will be. So we'll have to wait until very close to the game for that.
So what does Sydney make you think about, particularly with a new coach? Are you seeing anything different with Dean compared to Longmire that makes you think you've got to
No. I think the great thing about Sydney is that they're Sydney play Sydney style of football. And yes, there's been a change of coach, but I think Dean worked really closely with John for a long period of time and knew his opportunity was probably coming. And I don't think Sydney changed too much. Their culture and their values they play football around those things like we'd like to think we do as well. But you know, they're one of the clubs that we respect and admire the most because of their consistency. But and their consistency is the way they do things. So we don't expect too much to change in the way they play.
The question now, I guess, is two-part. How do you replicate what you did? But then is it actually possible? You guys play at the absolute top elite level. Is it possible to do that consistently over and over and over again?
We'd like to think so. We'd like to hope so. But we know it's probably a bit of a stretch to say you can do that every week, every game, every second, and every minute of every game. We've seen what happened the other night. We were dynamic for 2.5 quarters, probably a little bit longer than that. But you know, to Hawthorn's credit, they were able to find a way to get back into the game, and it's bloody hard at this level to bring that level of consistency to your performance. But we set out every week to do that, though. That's what we all get confused. Well, why don't they just do that every week? They set out every week to absolutely do that. The opposition have a say in that. You know, the way we play, the way we handle things at different times has a say in that. But our intent every week is to be that.
Is Connor at halfback more likely to trick up the sleeve, or is it possibly a consistent option for him?
No, I think he'll be available to play there when we need him, whenever that is, which could be this week, could be next week, might be the week after. But I do remember he kicked 5 in his 3rd game of AFL football as well, so I might play him at full forward.
Players said last week they pulled back on that handball, that extra handball that they seem to be playing. That correction, did you sense that was needed, or did they bring that one forward, that it was making it too difficult when they were handling the ball?
Yeah, I don't know that the numbers were that different with kick to handball ratio. I don't think they were that different. We just chose better moments, I think, and we didn't squeeze too many out. That we probably under too much pressure. We were going a little bit harder, you know. And the game we had to play against Hawthorn demanded us to play slightly differently anyhow, because we do play a bit of a different game against them. So I don't think it was a super adjustment, but I think there was some small adjustments.
Was the Connor to half-back lever something that you thought about even when you let Dan go?
Well, we've always talked about, we know Connor's history. We know he's played at halfback in his junior days, but it's a big stretch to go from 7 years or whatever it is as an AFL and the captain of the club to go, you know what, we're just going to plonk you back there and think you'll be okay. Well, we'd played him there earlier in the year, which people forgot. We played him against Essendon at halfback. You know, and we just managed to see the results this week and thought, gee, that was important to the result. He played pretty well at halfback against Essendon too, for only minutes, not for a whole game. So, you know, it's a great tool to be able to use. It's great to have your captain just accept whatever he needs to do for the team is right. And I loved his comment around it. It allowed him to be a better captain even from behind the ball. So, you know, that was a good result.
You know how internally how important Sam Powell-Pepper is, but to see what he did on James Sicily, is he finally getting his confidence back in his football now? Obviously, it takes a while after an ACL.
Yeah, I think it's 12 months this week. I think round 6, I reckon he might have done his ACL. So it's an incredible journey, isn't it, that he's got back so quick and played at the level he's played at already. Look, we've all said before, Sam brings an enormous amount of spirit to our footy team, and he's you know, he's a really important member of our team. But when he plays a leadership role like he did the other night and any other time he's played, pretty important.
You've coached your club for a long time, Ken. Do you feel like that win can be a tipping point? You've won so many games across your career. You would have seen the ebbs and flows, and you talk about trying to replicate it every single week. But can there be a confidence boost in a win like that then can be a tipping point?
Maybe it's hard. It's just a hard comp. We're going to Sydney to play Sydney. You know, it's pretty tough, but the reality is we'll get some confidence out. But I did say I felt like we'd built from the St Kilda game. I felt we'd done some better things in our game. We didn't get the result, but we felt like we're building, and I think we've continued to build through last week. And if we're going to win this week, we're going to have to continue to build this week. But yeah, it certainly doesn't hurt you to have a performance like that for the boys, you know, because the season hadn't started off ideally for us. But a little bit of confidence creates a bit of energy, creates a bit of excitement, so that's a good thing.
Is there anything that lingers from that preliminary final?
Oh, I don't think so. I say this all the time. The last time you played doesn't really matter. You know, does anything linger from the time before that? You know, when we beat them easily too. I think every week's so different. Sydney are quite a different side with what they've, you know, got available this week, and we are quite a different side to what we've had last time. So I would imagine there's 6 or 7 changes to both teams probably from the last time we played.